What's up, guys? I'm LQ. This is the LQ Review, and it's Christmas Eve. Tomorrow's Christmas Eve, and I wanted to give you guys my top 15 Christmas movies of all time. So this isn't like the Christmas specials. This isn't going to have like How the Grinch Stole Christmas, the Charlie Brown Christmas, Rudolph. It's not going to have any of that stuff on it because those are like made for TV specials. This is going to be my list of theatrically released Christmas movies. But before I give my list, make sure you subscribe to my channel so you're able to keep track of all the content that I put out. But let's talk about my top 15 Christmas movies. Why 15? Well, I had a hard time narrowing it down to 10, especially one that I really wanted to get in the top 10, but I couldn't. So let's just start with number 15. Number 15 is Jim Carrey's How the Grinch Stole Christmas. I know a lot of people aren't really fans of this interpretation of it, but like many movies on this list, this is nostalgia. This is all about nostalgia, right? This came out when I was 20 years old, and, it's been with me for the past, 19 years? And every Christmas I watch it. It's something that I've been able to introduce to my kids and watch with them and enjoy with them. And the comedy in it was a little more edgy than the comedy in the new version with Benedict Cumberbatch. And Jim Carrey, say what you will about him, but he became the Grinch. It was wonderful. By the way, Jim Carrey in The Truman Show, that's one of the best performances I've ever seen. I digress. So How the Grinch Stole Christmas is number 15. Number 14 is Bad Santa. Yeah, Bad Santa has a lot of language and behavior and things of that nature that don't exactly scream Christmas, but there's a lot of heart to this movie, and there's definitely a very Christmas kind of ending that kind of wraps it up. It's very heartwarming and very genuine. So I really like Bad Christmas. It's kind of a redemption movie for a scoundrel. It's the Grinch for grown-ups. So I really like Bad Santa. Bad Santa is number 14. Number 13. Number 13, this is all about nostalgia here, guys. Number 13 is Prancer. Yes, Prancer, the little girl who nurses the injured reindeer back to health. Nostalgia talking. I saw this when I was little in the theaters. And, I was in grade school. Saw it in the theaters, and I was like, the ending of this movie just blew me away. When he runs off, jumps off the cliff, and then you see Santa's sleigh fly by. The whole movie kind of doesn't really treat Santa like a real thing. And then all of a sudden at the end, boom, there he is. So a lot of nostalgia playing here, but these are Christmas movies. This is going to be a lot about nostalgia. So number 13 is Prancer. Number 12, another nostalgia vote. Big time nostalgia, because if I were to take off my nostalgia glasses and put on my critical glasses, I'd probably even call this a bad movie. But for me, when I'm thinking about the Christmas movies that I have to watch every year, this is one of them. So number 12 is Santa Claus the movie. Yes, produced by the Salkinds, the same people that did Superman and Superman 2 and Superman 3 and Superman 4. Those guys, Santa Claus the movie. This movie also has a lot of heart to it, and it's kind of two separate movies. The first movie is kind of the origin of Santa Claus, and then the second movie is about the evil toy tycoon played by John Lithgow. And boy, John Lithgow hams it up great in this movie. He plays a great bad guy. Dudley Moore plays the elf Patches. They got a great cast to play in this movie, and the soundtrack is great, and for whatever reason, it just didn't really come together and flow if I were to look at it critically. But for me, it's like, I don't need to look at it critically. This is a Christmas movie I have to watch every year. So number 12 is Santa Claus the movie. Number 11. Number 11 is the one that I really wanted to get in the top 10, but I just couldn't. Because I guess I just don't have the same reverence for it that a lot of people do. But number 11 for me is It's a Wonderful Life. I know there's probably people screaming at me right now saying, "What are you thinking, LQ? That's stupid. It should be number 1. But for me, It's a Wonderful Life I never really had the same amount of reverence for it. It wasn't one that I had to watch every year until recently in my life. Recently in my life, I've started watching that one annually, but it was never anything that really captured my attention when I was a kid. So I don't have the same nostalgia for it. but I've come to develop an appreciation for it as an adult. So number 11, A Wonderful Life. Top 10 now. Top 10. Number 10. This one's bound to make people angry, but it's another Jim Carrey one. Disney's A Christmas Carol. Yeah, I loved it. Like, Polar Express is not on this list, guys. It's not on the list. But Disney's A Christmas Carol, I think, is the best version of A Christmas Carol that we've had on screen. I just do. It just captured my imagination. Having Jim Carrey play Ebenezer Scrooge, having Carrey play the ghost, I mean, all that captured my imagination, and I just thought it was a beautiful animation, and the storytelling was wonderful. So for me, number 10, yeah, I had a silly scene with the Ghost of Christmas Future and the chase scene and whatnot. That was all pretty silly. But as far as the storytelling components, I thought this was really well done. So Disney's A Christmas Carol is number 10. Number 9 is The Santa Claus with Tim Allen. Forget the lackluster sequels. The Santa Claus is a pretty solid little Christmas movie. Now, yeah, it's based on a premise of if you murder Santa, you get to be Santa. And it always kind of bothered me how the elves weren't concerned when this guy shows up. But overall, it's a fun little Christmas movie. Definitely captures that Christmas feeling. It's definitely got a lot of imagination in it, a lot of fun, a lot of energy. So number 9 is Tim Allen's The Santa Claus. Number 8. All right. So I said that Disney's A Christmas Carol is my favorite version of the Scrooge story. That's not really true, because this one is also a Scrooge story, and it's called Scrooged with Bill Murray. This one is hilarious. Like, I grew up watching it. I watched it when I was a little kid. How did my parents let me watch Scrooged when I was a little kid? But they did, and it was wonderful. And Bill Murray is amazing in this. He's hilarious. He's funny. He's just electric in the way that he portrays this scumbag. And he was the perfect guy for it. He was the perfect guy for that role. And Scrooged is wonderful, and it's number 8. Number 7. Yes, 7 is a Christmas movie. Die Hard is not on my list. Die Hard is not on my list because it's not really fair. Die Hard is one of my top 5 movies of all time. And I'm not so sure that Die Hard is a Christmas movie. If you think it is, that's fine. For me, Die Hard's not a Christmas movie. It's an action movie. But this one is. I think Gremlins is a Christmas movie, and it's number 7. It's another one. Gremlins is a foundational movie for me. It's a movie that I saw when I was a kid, and it just made me love movies. And it's stayed that way for me. I watch Gremlins every Christmas. And it's wonderful storytelling, great puppetry, and just a nice little Christmas horror movie for kids. So number 7 is Gremlins. Number 6 is Home Alone. Home Alone is another one of those movies. I saw it when I saw it in theaters. I was 10 years old, and it just captured me, and it stayed with me ever since. Great soundtrack, great premise. Joe Pesci should be at the top of his game doing gangster movies. For whatever reason, he came on to do Home Alone, and I'm glad he did. Home Alone was wonderful, and it's number 6. Number 5. Number 5 is one that a lot of people hate. A lot of people hate it. Like, it's on some people's worst of all time list. But for me, it's number 5. And that's Jingle All The Way with Arnold Schwarzenegger. And yeah, it's a movie about the consumerism of Christmas. It's a movie that embraces Christmas consumerism. And I understand all that. But Arnold Schwarzenegger is at the top of his comedy game in this. He's hilarious. The slapstick comedy that he puts on in this is wonderful. He plays off of Sinbad really well, plays off of Belushi really well. And as corny and stupid as it is, for whatever reason, it just works for me. I realize it's a bad movie, but Jingle All The Way works for me. I've already watched it twice this December. Jingle All The Way works. It's number 5. Number 4. Number 4 is one of those classic movies, black and white, and where, for whatever reason, It's a Wonderful Life didn't capture my imagination when I was a kid, so I don't have nostalgia for it. Number 4 did capture my imagination when I was a kid, and I've got all sorts of nostalgia for this one, and it's Miracle on 34th Street. Miracle on 34th Street is like the Christmas movie for me. When I think of Christmas movies, this one and the top 2. Miracle on 34th Street and the top 2 are the first ones that come to mind. because they're the Christmas movies. So Miracle on 34th Street just kind of has all the ingredients that I'm looking for in a Christmas movie. It's heartwarming, it's funny, it's got a great message, a great conclusion, and I just loved it. Miracle on 34th Street is number 4. Number 3, Elf with Will Ferrell. Elf is fantastic. It's hilarious, and it's one of those movies I can pop in anytime during the year and just laugh my head off at it. It's a movie that's still funny. Like, no matter how many times you watch it, it's still funny. And I love movies like that. I love comedies like that. Like Step Brothers is one of them. It doesn't matter how many times you watch it, it's still funny. So Elf definitely worked for me. It's very heartwarming, and it's just a fun movie to watch any time of year. Number two, National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. This one, it probably gets watched more than any of them. This is one of my comfort movies, right? Like if I'm laying in bed trying to go to sleep, I'll turn on Christmas Vacation no matter what time of year it is. I know it inside and out. I know all the dialogue in it. It's just one of those movies that it's part of who I am. National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation. It's hilarious. Randy Quaid is brilliant. Chevy Chase is brilliant. This is a brilliant movie, and I'm so glad that it got made, and I'm so glad that the Griswolds decided to stay home that year because it's hilarious. So, number 2, Christmas Vacation. Number 1, everybody probably guessed it by now, A Christmas Story. A Christmas Story is a perfect movie. It's a perfect movie. I mean, it's definitely one of my top 10 movies of all time. And just the presentation of it, the Gene Shepard. A Christmas Story is really just a whole bunch of small little Gene Shepard stories put together with a Christmas package around it, and it's hilarious. Like it's set in the late 30s, early 40s, but it's still relevant today. It still captures what Christmas is to people today. It still captures that childhood imagination, that childhood enthusiasm for Christmas. A Christmas Story is a perfect movie, and I love it. I love it. I love it. I watch it multiple times every Christmas, and I can't get enough of it. So there you are. There's my top 15 Christmas movies. Number 15, How the Grinch Stole Christmas. Number 14, Bad Santa. Number 13, Prancer. Number 12, Santa Claus the Movie. Number 11, It's a Wonderful Life. Number 10, Disney's A Christmas Carol. Number 9, The Santa Claus. Number 8, Scrooged. Number 7, Gremlins. Number 6, Home Alone. Number 5, Jingle All The Way. Number 4, Miracle on 34th Street. Number 3, Elf. Number 2, Christmas Vacation. And number 1, A Christmas Story. What are your favorite Christmas movies of all time? I would love to know what your favorite ones are in the comments down below. Which ones did I leave off the list? Remember, this is all subjective. Everybody's list is going to look different, and that's okay. So let me know what your list looks like in the comments down below. And thank you so much for being here at the OK Review, where we talk about all of the geeky, nerdy stuff we love to talk about. And until next time, Merry Christmas.